Hello, everyone. I'm Bianca, and today I'm with you to explore one of the four big planetary and elemental shifts of 2025, and that is none other than Saturn in Aries. And I will also look at how it will play out or affect each sign. I will also mention specific birth dates that are directly affected by this huge shift, as well as that will connect it to other planetary events and time periods that were of major significance. Most of you probably have already heard a lot about this, but do listen on because this is a monumental time for everyone and no info coming our way can be spared. But before moving on to exploring Saturn in Aries 2025-2028, let me announce a 20% promotion I'm running until 8th of June to honor Saturn's return to my third house. You can book your reading on Astrolada's website, and the discount will be automatically applied, and you can find the link below the video. Now that we have gotten business out of the way, let us move to Saturn moving into Aries for 3 months this year, from 25th of May until the 1st of September, before returning to Pisces until February next year. So this is a very important shift because Saturn is returning to Aries after 29 years, but this is only one of the reasons. This shift is also very important because Saturn is moving out of Pisces into Aries, and Aries is so different than Pisces. Actually, they have nothing in common. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, the 12th sign, and it's like kind of a hidden place. It's kind of in the shadows, in the background. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it's quick, it's fast, it's impulsive. Pisces is a water sign and it has cold and wet nature. Aries is a fire sign and has hot and dry nature, so they have nothing in common. Any shift from a water to a fire sign is generally more challenging because they have nothing in common. Furthermore, Saturn is also a cold and dry planet, and it has something in common with both Pisces and Aries, the coldness of Pisces and the dryness of Aries. Third, Saturn will leave a sign that is one, as I said, in the shadows, in the background, and will move into a highly visible sign. And it's also the sign that it's in fall position. It's one, or it's the worst position for Saturn around the zodiac. Interestingly, Saturn is in fall in Aries, and Mars, the ruler of Aries, is in exaltation in Capricorn, the sign that Saturn rules. Also, Saturn will be in a sign that naturally squares Capricorn, his home sign. So I guess we can safely say that this is the most challenging position Saturn can be in. And judging from these points, Saturn's transit through Aries for 3 years will not be an easy one. Also, comparing and contrasting with past Saturn transits in Aries, I do find this one as more significant and more challenging because of the aspects that Saturn will form, with most prominent the conjunction to Neptune. But it's also being on the apex of a mini trine, the sextile with Uranus and Pluto. This is also so powerful, and especially at 0 degrees Aries, that will the aspect Saturn Neptune will conjunct at 0:45 Aries, the world axis next year. So powerful. Therefore, this is something we need to be aware of, as Saturn is all about preparation. When we're aware of something, we can prepare. And Saturn is considered in fall in Aries, meaning that it cannot express its natural qualities easily. When a planet is in fall, it's inconsistent, it's unreliable, it's unstable, it's challenged, it's weakened. And Saturn struggles to express its nature in a way that is natural or efficient in Aries. So its energies may be distorted or ineffective. Therefore, planets in fall often require more conscious effort in order to work positively. They can also indicate areas of life where difficulties may be encountered, but also where significant growth is possible. This position often teaches us lessons about humility, about adaptation, and about the need to overcome obstacles, but in a slow and disciplined and methodical way. These qualities sound very much like Saturn, right? Also, a planet in fall may reflect internal or external struggles. Saturn in fall in Aries can indicate a struggle to balance stability with the need or even the ability to start something new. The qualities of Saturn with the nature of Aries. What is Saturn about? Saturn represents structure, discipline, responsibility, burdens, patience, long-term planning. It operates best in signs that promote stability, practicality, and control, such as Capricorn, Libra, and Virgo. What is Aries' nature? Aries is fiery, it's impulsive, it's action-oriented sign. So it focuses on initiation, on competition, on immediate results. Aries is not known for patience or for long-term planning, long-term thinking qualities that Saturn relies on. So Saturn is in fall in Aries because they represent conflicting energies. Saturn is careful, slow, and disciplined. It approaches struggles with disciplined and slow way, while Aries is impulsive and has a rushed nature. It cannot wait. So there is a tension between the need to plan and the desire to act immediately. There might be difficulty with structure and authority. Aries' drive for independence can reject the constraints that Saturn imposes, the limitations. These may lead to struggles or conflicts with authority figures, people who rule, who exercise authorities, with parents, people who have responsibilities. Challenges with patience. This is another struggle. Aries wants quick results, but Saturn demands a methodical, slow building approach, and this can result in frustration or feelings of failure if success isn't immediate. Generally, Saturn's qualities are totally opposite to the qualities of Aries. Saturn is a slow planet, Aries is a fast sign. Saturn is about patience, Aries is about impatience. Saturn in fall in Aries means that Saturn is lacking. Aries is lacking the qualities of Saturn. Therefore, Aries lacks patience. And this is one of the reasons Aries is impulsive. It lacks patience and wants instant gratification. Saturn is about being prepared, organized, methodical. Saturn is about hard work, and Aries is definitely not about hard work. And this is a lesson that Aries needs to learn because it's its fall position. If it doesn't learn how to work hard, it will fail. It needs to learn to be patient and work hard to reach the top of the mountain, Capricorn, because Mars, the ruler of Aries, is in exaltation in Capricorn. But Aries cannot wait. It wants to reach the top quickly. It's like a teenager who just cannot wait and wants to conquer the world overnight. It wants to skip steps, it wants to cut corners, but Saturn is definitely not about cutting corners or skipping steps. Saturn is about consciousness, it's about taking careful steps, planning and taking it slow. So generally, making careful moves or taking careful risk-calculated actions, because the calculated comes from Saturn ruling Capricorn. Calculated risk is Aries. So calculated risks is key here. So to summarize, the challenges that we will all need to overcome with the Saturn in transiting Aries are impatience. We will need to work on accepting that rewards come with time and effort. We may develop a fear of failure. Aries' competitive nature may struggle with Saturn's limitations, or vice versa. Aries' independence may struggle with Saturn's boundaries, or vice versa. problems with authority or authority figures, with older people, with parents, with more mature or wiser people. We need to be honest, transparent, and legal in anything we do or initiate. There may be a tendency to clash with those in power. Of course, not everything is bad. Every coin has two sides, just like every planet has two sides as well, or every sign. All of them can be looked at in a positive or negative way. So some potential strengths from this placement is that Saturn in Aries can still be powerful when harnessing its energy effectively. So Saturn in Aries can lead through discipline. With discipline, when it's applied to Aries initiative, then the placement can create a determined and resourceful leader who can overcome great odds or difficulties. It can give courage to face responsibility because Aries talks about courage to take on challenges, and even if they seem overwhelming. So Saturn in this sign can lead to someone who works hard to conquer adverse conditions. Brings on a pioneering spirit and innovations. The combination of Saturn's structure and Aries' drive can result in innovative strategies that break new ground while maintaining order. So what we need to do with Saturn transiting Aries for the next 3 years is to acknowledge the challenges associated with this position, and we will have 3 years to learn to integrate these planets' energies in a way that suits the sign it occupies. We should strive for balance and patience, as this placement can often bring significant rewards through discipline and effort. And these are the general characteristics of Saturn in Aries and how the energies will play out in the collective. The universal message is to take initiative with discipline, with care, with caution, with thinking things through. While Aries wants quick results, Saturn demands patience and strategy. So the impact on a personal level will depend on your sign, zodiac sign, rising sign, and the specific life area that is affected, which life department the sign of Aries represents for you, and what Saturn rules in your chart. So the timing of this influence on a personal level will very much depend on the degrees that Saturn is transiting. But the core lesson is the same. Take responsibility for your path and walk it with discipline. Saturn in Aries generally encourages all to embrace discipline, take responsibility for personal ambitions, and build strong foundations for the future. So this period is an invitation to harness Aries energy with Saturn's structured approach, the fiery energy with the structured approach, and therefore achieve meaningful progress and self-mastery through these energies. Before I break it down for each sign, I would like to mention some specific dates as well as specific birthdays and years of birth that are strongly affected by this transit. Saturn entered Aries, as I said, on 25th of May 2025 and will be transiting Aries until 13th of April 2028, with a brief retrograde in Pisces from the 1st of September this year until 20th of February 2026. The cardinal signs will be very much affected in the most challenging way because Saturn will be forming hard aspects, while fire and air signs, primarily the fire signs and secondary air signs, will receive the aspect in a more positive way because Saturn will be trining or sextiling. Who will experience a Saturn return in Aries for this from 2025 to 2028? This transit is particularly impactful for individuals who have natal Saturn in Aries, as they will experience their Saturn return during this period, which is a pivotal time of personal growth and transformation that occurs approximately every 29 and a half years. Let me share the screen so you can see who will be having their Saturn returns. For some reason, I know a lot of people who will be having Saturn returns this year, not just this year, the next 3 years, because they have natal Saturn in Aries. I don't see the, oh, okay, and now it's sharing. So, as we see on the screen, if you were born during one of the following periods, your natal Saturn is in Aries and will undergo a Saturn return between 2025 and 2028. Those who were born between April 7th, 1937 to 17th October 1939, they will be having their third Saturn return. People born between 25 March 1967 to 29 April 1969, they will be having their second Saturn return. And people born between 7th of April 1996 to 9 June 1998, they will be having their first Saturn return. So individuals born between 1996 and 1998 who will have their first Saturn return, this is a transition into full adulthood and prompting significant life evaluations. It's a period of significant life evaluations and assessments. Those who will be having their second Saturn return, they will be going through a time of reassessment, time of legacy, and alignment with deeper purpose. It's a time when most people start realizing that they don't have as much time left as they used to. So it's an important time period to go through what they have achieved, what they haven't, what they would like their legacy to be about. And people born between 1936 and 1938 will experience their third Saturn return, which is the kind of the final reckoning with life's meaning. They have to deal with unfinished business, what wisdom they have gained, things like that. So people who have natal Saturn in cardinal signs, at some point, they will experience a square or opposition by transit Saturn to their natal Saturn. This means that these people are also going through a milestone moment in their Saturn cycle. Let me show you the next, when was, yeah, here we have when was Saturn in Cancer. These people are experiencing their second square, third quarter, it's called. It's a closing square to their natal Saturn. And it's like turning the corner and heading toward their Saturn return. It's the final leg of the journey, let's say. Then we have those with Saturn in Libra. Saturn in Libra. These people will be experiencing their Saturn opposition or the peak of their Saturn cycle. The peak is like the middle of the cycle and brings things to a head so that they can take their path. They can clear out and take their. Some things need to change. It's a culmination point as well. So something that happened started with the beginning of the cycle, now it's reaching like a peak. People born between 2008 and 2011 had Saturn square Pluto in their natal charts as well, and Saturn opposition Uranus. So basically, they have a T-square with Saturn opposing Uranus, squaring Pluto, with Pluto on the apex. And people born during those years are currently teenagers between 14 to 18 years old. So this is especially strong for people born between 22nd of July to 13 August 2010. These people also had Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Aries and Mars conjunct Saturn in Aries. And the North Node was in Capricorn as well and applying to Pluto. And this is really important because the North Node was around 9 degrees of Capricorn at the time. And 9 degrees of the cardinal signs was very important, as we will see further down, because we had an eclipse at 9 Aries, the final eclipse in the Aries Libra axis. We also had Mercury and Venus stationing retrograde near 9 degrees of Aries. So this is a really important degree. And we see that these people who were born between 22nd of July to 13 August 2010 are very much affected as well. And as I said, they also had Jupiter, yeah. So this combination with all these powerful planets participating and the nodes as well, it's very karmic, it's very fated, it's very important. People who were born during that time have a mission to carry out, and it's an important one as well. Let's Saturn in Capricorn then, which is the most recent period that Saturn was in as well. Those people are experiencing the first square after their Saturn return, and it's an opening square. And this is important because there is a bit of a difference in how on what the opening and what the closing square means. So these people are going through their opening square, which again is a time of adjustment, crisis situation. And these people were mostly born, which periods? We have some periods in 1929, 1932, 1959, 1988, and 2017 and 2020. So there are different age groups going through who had Saturn in Capricorn. So furthermore, these are not the only ones who are affected. There is impact on other zodiac signs as well. But those who had natal Saturn in Aries will feel the most direct effects because it's a conjunction, it's Saturn's return. And most of all, the first who are being affected, we already showed the days of who has natal Saturn in Aries, but those who are affected as we speak right now are people who have natal Saturn between 0 to the first 3 degrees of Aries. And these people are affected, have already started being affected. Let's look at who these people are, what are their birthdays. Okay, let me find which this is the correct slide. Okay, these are the people who have natal Saturn at 0 to 2 Aries, and they are impacted from now until early 2026. People born from 25th of April to the 12th of May 1937, all of September to 18th of October 1937, 15th of January to 4th of February 1938, 3 to 18 March 1967, and 7 to 22nd of April 1996. The first date is Saturn entering Aries, but the previous birthdays also have Saturn in the last degrees of Pisces. So they are also going through the final days of Saturn in Pisces. So if your birthday falls close to the days I'm referencing, do check your chart because you're probably affected as well from Saturn being in Pisces. Here, of course, I want to make a disclaimer that these are not the only ones who will be affected. These people are being impacted currently, and while Saturn is moving at the first 2-3 degrees of Aries. So people with natal Saturn in Aries are especially impacted, but the cardinal signs overall will be receiving Saturn's influence via hard aspects, so they are affected very much as well, whether they have Saturn or not in their charts. Those who have Saturn are much more affected. What are the birthdays of the cardinal signs who are being affected? Here we see for 2025, 2026, 27, 28, the birthdays that will be affected depending on Saturn's, which degrees that Saturn will be going through in Aries each year. So, for the cardinal signs, individuals who have significant placements in the cardinal signs like Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, and significant placements are the planets or angles of the chart, will experience challenges, but also growth opportunities during this transit. Squares and oppositions indicate external pressure or outside events that push us toward growth. And these aspects, especially with Saturn's movement, bring challenges, not movement, involvement, especially with Saturn's involvement, bring challenges, delays, and breakdowns that ultimately promote maturity and greater clarity. For Cancers who receive the energy in a square, it will bring pressure and challenges on a personal and family life issues related to home, family, or property may arise, or external situations that force you to redefine your security and emotional foundations. And with Saturn and Neptune conjunction, there could be problems or damages to the property itself related to structure, foundation, or water. For Libras, who will receive the aspect in opposition, relationships will be tested. There may be breakdowns or tensions in marriage and partnerships because this period requires like a rebalancing between the self and others. And there are chances of deceit as well, cheating, of affairs, love triangles leading to marriage or relationship breakups, especially because Neptune conjuncts Saturn. So these are very much likely. Or past cheating or hidden love affairs that went on when Saturn was transiting Pisces, and hidden love affairs are very much Neptune related, will come to the surface because it's payback time, Saturn. So they will be revealed, and people will, who will have gotten themselves into such situations, will face their responsibilities. They will face the music. And Capricorns, because they receive the energy in square as well, they will also feel pressure and face challenges in professional life, in social status, problems with authority, or increased responsibilities may arise. It's a time to establish limits and face career tests. There might be challenges to fame or reputation. Their reputation might be on the line, especially with the Saturn and Neptune conjunction, because Neptune on the top of the chart often speaks about being defamed, falling from grace. The other important period is, or not the period, the other important signs that are affected, and they will feel the Saturn's transit in Aries a lot, are those people who have Pluto, natal Pluto, in cardinal signs. So other individuals who will be, these are other individuals who will be strongly affected because Pluto in the cardinal signs now be receiving a hard aspect by Saturn. It's a very challenging and difficult energy. And for all of these people who have natal Pluto in cardinal signs, the transiting Saturn will form either a square or opposition to their natal Pluto, which is very dynamic and intense energy. And it can bring power struggles, either internal or external conflicts, because the opposition especially can be related to external influences or other people, but the squares as well. It doesn't mean that they it's just internal. There might be events caused by others that need to be handled. They might experience collapsible structures or a need to redefine their goals or to change goals completely. They might have challenges or problems with authority or with their own sense of control, with parents, with authority figures in general. Structural changes in career, family, power dynamics, or social profile. I didn't prepare slides for when Pluto was in Cancer, but I will mention the dates. This concerns mostly people who are age 86 and older, birth periods from 10 September, Pluto was in Cancer from 10th of September 1912 to 14th of June 1939. That was a long time, 27 years altogether. There were some retrograde periods back into Gemini between October 1912 and May 1914, and a bit of back and forth into Leo from October 1937 to June 1939, before Pluto moved permanently into Cancer. So this concerns, as I said, people 86, age 86 and older. And this period brings great pressure on the elderly, including possible health crises or family breakdowns. The challenge is to resolve all family issues, inheritance matters, and to decide whether to forgive or to end relationships with children or partners, let's say. There is a bit of psychological traumas coming up, especially these people went through or experienced wars, and they might carry traumas from past wars, poverty, or collective events that may have affected them. They may now resurface, pushing them to heal, or they might just start thinking about them and having them on their mind all the time. So this is a time to process past traumas and to make peace with family histories. It's a time to make end-of-life decisions like inheritance and legacy. These are issues that may be prominent in their lives during this period. Or there may be family rifts or reconciliations, particularly with children, with their children. Or parents, parents going through this transit might want to fix their relationships. On a global level, collected traumas from the period 1937 to 1939, such as wars and destruction, may resurface. New conflicts may arise around national or family matters, reflecting the sign of Cancer's connection to nation, family, and traditions. This can also bring a breakdown of traditional structures like the church, patriarchy, or family roles in general. The 1937 to 1939 period is quite significant. These people are currently 86 to 88 years old and older. And I'm mentioning them because a lot of us have parents or relatives who are at that age. So I'm sure a lot of people are interested in how their loved ones will experience this transit. During the period 1937 to 1939, when Saturn was moving through Aries, and Pluto was at the last 4 degrees of Cancer. And at the same time, in 1937, Jupiter was also in Cancer for a period and was conjunct Pluto. So for individuals born between May and July 1939, they are 86 years old, or they will be 86 years old soon. At some point during the transit, Saturn will activate their natal Saturn-Pluto square in their birth chart. So these individuals will experience both their third Saturn return and the activation of their natal Saturn-Pluto square. Okay, this is quite challenging. It's a very challenging time that can bring burdens for the elderly because they're already kind of have a burdened health. So this can be related to health issues, family breakdowns, greater responsibilities weighing heavily on them, or just feeling that too tired, feeling exhausted. Family and inheritance matters may also come to the surface. Topics related to old family issues and questions about forgiveness or final decisions. All of that are things that might play out. They need to be careful of falls and broken bones and things like that. Unresolved traumas from the past, psychological traumas, such as traumas from war, poverty, or major historical events they experienced, may resurface and demand healing. This is a time for revisiting the past, bringing opportunities to come to terms with family stories, either through accepting or by clearing away old pain. Some may face important end-of-life decisions about inheritance and legacy, personal rifts, reconciliation with children or parents may also be prominent. And on a broader level, this energy can trigger new tensions around family and national issues, as well as a breakdown of old structures like the church, patriarchal roles, or traditional family expectations. Then we had Pluto in Libra. So it will be receiving an opposition from Saturn in Aries, and this concerns people aged 41 to 54 years old. And the birth periods are from October 1971 to August 1984, with a temporary return to Virgo in 1972. So these individuals will experience a Saturn opposition to their natal Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and it's like a climax. It's the middle of the cycle, which means things and situations reach a peak to be cleared and take their course. It's like reaching a crossroads, a milestone in their life. And it's a generational aspect affecting all individuals born during that period who will need to face situations represented by the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Libra. And the most affected ones include those born from 5th of October 1971 to 16th of July 1973, who will be directly affected by the transit of Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Those born in January 1982 and from October 1982 to 5 of November 1983, but especially those born October and November 1982, who have natal Saturn-Pluto conjunction in the last 5 degrees of Libra in their natal charts, the transit Saturn in Aries will oppose them in 2027. This is a particularly difficult period, will be expected, will play out July to September 2027 for these people, especially when Saturn will station to retrograde at 27 degrees Aries, and March, April 2028 will also be a challenging period for these people. And then we had Saturn in Cancer, square Pluto in Libra from 74-75, from 16th of April 1974, Saturn moved into the sign of Cancer. And those born April, May, June 1974 have a natal square between Saturn in Cancer and Pluto in Libra. Those born June, July 1974 will be more intensely affected. October, December, and October to December 2026 and early 2027. How are those with Pluto in Libra 1971 to 1984 affected by the opposition from transit Saturn in Aries? As I said, those people are from 41 to 54 years in age in 25. And the most intense impact is like dissolution of marriages, crisis in partnerships or power struggles in partnerships or over personal rights, challenges in accepting responsibility for their personal power and dependence, stopping dependence on partnership relationships, codependence, dealing with codependence issues. There might be possible emergence of legal issues affecting them, like a collapse of their social image or inner war with the expectations of others. What do I feel inside and what do others expect of me? There might be simultaneous pressure on relationships and professional structures as well, breaks with partners or collaborations, redefining boundaries, power struggles with their own fears, wanting to move forward, but being afraid of leaving something behind, being afraid of losing something. And Libras are also always balancing things, thinking about the pros and cons and trying to find a win-win situation. So they're always afraid of losing something. On a global level, conflict between individual rights and legal political structures can be expected. Breakdown or rebuilding of international agreements, marriage rights, equality, general international partnerships and collaborations, mass reactions against control, possibilities to restart new social contracts, etc. And then the most recent placement of Pluto in cardinal signs was the Pluto's transit in Capricorn, which lasted from 26th of January 2008 to 19th of November 2024, and it's affecting the ages 2 to 17 years old in 2025. And significant years include 2020 to 21, when Saturn was also in Capricorn. Saturn was transiting Capricorn from 20th of December 2017 to 17 December 2020, with a brief passage into Aquarius from 22nd of March to 1st of July 2020. 2020 was a huge year, and this period saw a stellium of planets in Capricorn. We had Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, creating intense pressure and challenges for those born during that time. So those born from 26th of January 2008 to 24 November 2008 are directly affected at the start of Saturn's transit. Those born in 2018 are also strongly affected throughout 2026 due to Uranus in Aries during Saturn in Capricorn transit. And particularly the impact on those born May, July 2019, who also have a natal Saturn-Pluto conjunction with the North Node, is also very important. In the early degrees of Pluto in Capricorn are already activated in 2025. The impact on the generations, these people are currently around 17 years old, 16, 17 years old. And it's the generation that grew up during the crisis after 2008, after COVID, after war crisis, and institutional collapses. And challenges include pressure for early maturity, forced conformity, and an exhausting confrontation with the concept of success. these kids are not sure what success means or how to define success or how to go about it. And this can lead to anxiety, identity struggles, or conflicts with family and educational environments. On a personal level, there might be early pressure to mature, especially from school, family, or systems. There might be teenagers with Pluto from 0 to 12 Capricorn will feel strong pressure and responsibility for early maturity, especially in 2026, and possible confidence crisis or struggles with family or school. On a global level, Pluto in Capricorn symbolizes the breakdown of systems, structures, and power, and the square from Saturn intensifies restrictions from youth, including new laws and systemic pressure. So we can expect reforms in education, in youth rights, and on technology as well. There might be a strong push and pull energy for success or to conform, and teenagers might just not know which way to go because Neptune is there as well, bringing in confusion, fogginess, and general, making them so unsure of which path to follow. General characteristics for this period is conflict with struggles, reaction against old powers, a crisis between conformity and rebellion, and the need for structure to balance structure and freedom to create a new model of power. And what do all these positions have in common? Saturn in Aries is the need for self-resilience, self-reliance. The aspects with Pluto talk about radical transformation that hurts, though. It's not easy. So if these people, those who are teenagers and are affected very much, if they don't adapt, they will be forced to do it through external pressure like illness, breakups, losses, crisis of power, and things like that. So it's very important to have this in mind, because this is the next generation. It's the generation that will carry us into the next era, and it's very important for those people who have children those ages to remember that or pay attention to what their kids are going through, because these are unprecedented energies that we have not experienced before, and everyone needs to be aware. And now let's look at the role of Chiron, because Chiron also plays a major role. Let me share them to show you Chiron's placements in Aries. Okay. Those born 1966 to 1968 are currently experiencing their Chiron return as well, because Chiron returned to Aries in 2018. Chiron was in Aries during those years, and its return now is significant because it affects both those born between 1966 and 1968, and also the new generation that was born from 2018 onward. And we have already seen that this generation is profoundly impacted karmically. Chiron was in Aries from 1st of April 1968 to 28th of March 1977. And from 17 April 2018, it will be there until 14th of April 2027. Chiron returned to Aries in 2018 and is currently transiting the last 5 degrees of Aries. So those born from 1st of April 68 to 18 October 1968, 30 January 1969 to 9 March 1969, 17th of April 2018 to 3rd of June 2018, 6th of August 2018 to 25 September 2018, 19 February 2019 to 24 March 2019, and 7th of November 2019 to 16th of January 2020. These individuals will have Saturn on their natal Chiron in 2026, as we speak. Another group of people who are affected are those who have Uranus in Aries. Uranus was transiting Aries 2010 to 2019. In May 2018, Uranus went into Taurus briefly. And this mostly affects the ages 6 to 15. First of all, the first who are affected are those who are close to 15 years old right now. These are the periods you can see on the screen. So these people will experience transit Saturn on natal Uranus, which is a challenging position. What is transit Saturn conjunct natal Uranus about? It's violent suppression of rebellion. It's intense internal struggle between structure and breaking free. It talks about pressure between structure and discipline, with dissent and unpredictability. How it will play out individually very much depends on the natal chart of each person. But transiting Saturn on natal Uranus often feels like a test of freedom versus responsibility. It brings sudden reality checks, structural limitations on independence, pressure to redefine what freedom means under new rules, for example. So on a personal level, this transit can play out as restrictions on freedom, like job, family, or legal duties may block spontaneous choices or bring life changes. Awakenings through limits, something that felt liberating may now feel like burden, forcing restructure. Disruptions in systems, unexpected breakdowns of technology, social networks, or plans built too loosely may break down. Forced maturity in unorthodox areas. For example, they will be called upon to take responsibility for something that they used to avoid, like an unconventional relationship or a more independent lifestyle. So the key themes of this combination is like reality versus rebellion, stability versus progress, discipline in chaos. The timing is key, and if Saturn is conjuncting Uranus by exact degree, the shift can feel uncomfortable but transformative at the same time. And what it demands is Saturn demands structure around individuality. So like imposing structure, but not killing one's individuality. With its transit in Aries, Saturn will also reactivate the 7 Uranus-Pluto squares that occurred from 2012 to 2015. And those were very important on a global level. It was one of the most important aspects of those years, and it happened 7 times. Here are the degrees and the dates when it happened. And as we can see, 4 of them happened near the 14th degree, from 11th degree, 13, 12, 13, 15. And this is important because this is a point that will be activated by Saturn stationing retrograde. All these squares will be reactivated in 2026 when Saturn reaches almost 15 degrees of Aries, because In 2026, Saturn will station retrograde at 14 degrees Aries and station direct at 8 degrees of Aries. So all of these squares will be triggered. And these are the periods that Saturn will station retrograde. Where is that? From 13th of July at 1:56 until 28th of November, it will go back to Pisces. From 26th July 26 at 14:45 until the 10th of December 2026 at almost 8 Aries. And this is also very important because I explained what this degree means. And Saturn will be triggering it for quite a while, for a couple of months at least or more. And the final retrograde is in 2027 from almost 28 degrees of Aries to 21 degrees of Aries. And this is also important because transit Chiron is currently at 27 degrees. So when the Saturn station retrogrades in 2027, it will be connecting to transit Chiron in May 2025. Yes, here I'm writing about the 8-9 degree, which is very important, but I already mentioned that. But I do want to mention that I consider June, July, August 2026 to be very difficult months. Saturn will be moving very slow near the 14 degrees, but also the end of the year. October, November, December, January 2028, when Saturn will be moving around the 8 degrees of 2026 to 2027. But Saturn activating all these influences on a global level, it's a very difficult condition that speaks of explosive situations and possible mass exit of souls. I also believe that these activations are extremely significant on a global level because in the chart for the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January 2020, which marks the beginning of the synodic cycle, the south node was at 8 Capricorn. So all of these activations connect to that period as well, connect to that degree of the cardinal signs and directly trigger the synodic cycle. So this was the period that changed the course of history and marked the end of a new era and the beginning of another. And Saturn in Aries will be activating all of these and will reconnect to events and situations that also took place from 2010 to 2015. Okay, so let's look at Saturn's movement in Aries, which degrees it will cover and when. This year it will cover the first 2 degrees, 2026 it will go around from 0 to 15, 2027 from 11 to 27, and 28 almost. And in 2028 it will complete its transit in Aries. So for the rest of the year and until February 2027, okay, yes, I just mentioned, from now and for until February 27, it will move mostly within the first decade. And the rest of 2027, it will cover almost 2 decades. So it will be moving quite fast. From July to September 2027, I expect that those to be difficult, challenging months. Saturn will continuously affect the 26 to 28 degrees. And also from 3rd of May 27 until 13th of April 28, because Chiron will also be in those degrees, adding its own energy as well. And Chiron is about wounds, traumas, and unhealed scars that we carry within us. In January 2028, Saturn will be at 11 degrees Aries and will 21 degrees Aries and will cover the rest of the sign until 13 April when it moves into Taurus. So these are the important move or how Saturn will cover the sign of Aries. But now we will move to see how each sign will be affected on a personal level. But let me clarify that I will focus my analysis only on Saturn's transit through Aries. But the fact is that Saturn, for the first few years, will be moving hand in hand with Neptune, who is also into Aries for the first time in 165 years, which was another major shift of 2025. And this means that Saturn's energy will be influenced by Neptune's energy, because Neptune is the strongest planet of the two, being the outer planet. So I'm giving more details about how these two energies will play out in the general world predictions for 2025. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just looking at the general outlook of Saturn transiting Aries. So let's break it down for each sign and how it will be affected. Because Saturn in Aries will impact each sign differently depending on the house it transits and the aspects to natal planets. So let's share. Let me share the screen so that you can be looking at which sign I'm looking at the moment, with Aries being the first one. Okay, Aries. For Aries, what we spoke about so far is directly relevant because the focus is on the first house, so it's everything that we have spoken about so far. For Aries, the focus will be on self-definition, on personal responsibility, and new foundations because it's first house. Saturn entering your sign marks a turning point in your life. It's a time when you will be asked to step into a more mature, disciplined, and structured version of yourself. Saturn demands accountability, so this period is about taking responsibility for your actions, reassessing your priorities, and building a strong foundation for the future. It might feel like a burden at times, but it's also an opportunity to redefine yourself and your path. In your career, this transit brings a heavy emphasis on personal responsibility and goal setting. You may find yourself taking on leadership roles or dealing with increased pressure to reform, and this isn't a time for shortcuts. Saturn rewards hard work and consistency, so focus on long-term strategies. While success won't be instant, the efforts you invest now will pay off in the years to come. This is an excellent time to start building toward a major professional milestone. Financially, Saturn will encourage conservatism because it's time to think carefully about how you spend and save, about impulsive purchases. These may backfire, so avoid risky investments and instead prioritize building stability. Think long-term, think savings, think insurance, think about a solid financial plan that will give you peace of mind. In relationships, this is a period of assessment. You may notice a shift in how you interact with others, and relationships that aren't built on strong foundation could fade away. However, this is also a time when reliable, loyal connections will strengthen. You are likely to attract people who reflect your newfound sense of maturity and purpose. Health-wise, the transit demands discipline. Aries is known for bursts of energy, but Saturn requires consistency. So you may need to adapt long-term fitness routines or address lingering health issues that have been ignored. Be careful with joints, bones, teeth. These may require extra care, so don't delay necessary maintenance. Saturn in your sign is a time for reinvention. While the challenges may feel daunting, the growth you achieve during this period will shape your future in ways you cannot imagine. Embrace the process and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. So, to summarize, career-wise, it's time to take personal responsibility and adapt a disciplined approach. You might feel tested, but this is the moment to redefine your professional image and goals. Finances, building financial independence through hard work and perseverance, and watch for impulsive spending. Relationships, boundaries are critical. You may reevaluate how much you give to others versus what you need for yourself. And health, focus on physical endurance. Saturn demands better self-care. Burnout or joint issues may surface if ignored. Let's move to Taurus. How Saturn in Aries will play out for Taurus, which the Saturn is transiting your 12th house. So the focus is on endings, on spiritual growth, on inner transformation. Saturn moving into your 12th house signals a period of intense inner work and of letting go. The 12th house represents the subconscious, hidden matters, and closures. Saturn here pushes you to release patterns, habits, and even relationships that no longer serve you. It's a time of preparation and reflection as you clear the path for a fresh start. When Saturn enters your sign in a few years, that is the fresh start. So now you need to clear the path with Saturn in your 12th house. Career-wise, this transit is less about visible achievements and is more about laying the groundwork for future success. You may find yourself drawn to work behind the scenes or taking a more low-key role. This period could also involve confronting fears or insecurities that have held you back professionally. While the progress might feel slow or even invisible, you are building a stronger foundation for the future. Strategic planning behind the scenes will set the stage for future success. Financially, Saturn will encourage careful monitoring. Hidden expenses might arise though, so be prepared for unexpected costs. And this is not the time for risky investments or impulsive decisions. Instead, you should focus on savings and on building financial resilience. If you have outstanding debts, this is a good time to create a plan to address them. Building a financial safety net will give you peace of mind, and this is something that is very important for Taurus, which is the sign of that needs financial security in order to feel safe. It's the number one cause of stress for Taurus. In relationships, you may feel a need to withdraw and spend more time alone. This isn't about isolation, though, but it's rather about healing and about understanding your deeper emotional needs. So it's not bad to isolate yourself a little bit, to do some self-reflection. You have to let go of toxic dynamics, of relationships that have been based on superficial connections. Those may fade away, or you just need to cut them off, while those rooted in genuine support and trust will strengthen. Health-wise, this is a time to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. The 12th house is a lot about mental and emotional health. And Saturn in the 12th can bring hidden stress to light. Issues that have been repressed may surface. So practices like meditation, therapy, journaling can help you work through this transit. They can help you deal with these hidden stress causes that may surface. You need to pay attention to your sleep patterns as well and avoid overworking yourself. It's important to find time to relax and to recover your energy. Saturn in the 12th house can feel like a period of endings, but these endings are necessary to make space for new beginnings, so you shouldn't feel sad about them. Embrace this time as an opportunity to cleanse and to recharge. You are laying the spiritual and emotional foundation for the next phase of your life, which will begin in 3 years. So to summarize, career-wise, it's a period of retreat and reflection. Strategic planning behind the scenes will set the stage for future success. Finances, unseen expenses might arise. Be prepared for unexpected costs and consider building a financial safety net. In relationships, let go of toxic dynamics. And this is a time for inner healing rather than forming new commitments. And health, prioritize mental health because Saturn in the 12th can bring hidden stress to light. And let's move on to Gemini. How will this transit play out for Geminis? Saturn transits your 11th house, so the focus is on friendships, on long-term goals, on social networks. Saturn moving into your 11th house brings focus to your social circles, on your ambitions, and the networks that support you. This is a time that you may experience restructuring in your friendships and community involvements. Relationships that don't align with your long-term goals or values may fade away, while those built on solid foundations will deepen. It's a period of defining who you want to be, with who and where do you want to go. Career-wise, this transit is about aligning your long-term vision with your actions. You will need to take a practical approach to your ambitions and focus on realistic plans rather than on ripe dreams. Teamwork may come under the spotlight and you will be challenged to collaborate effectively or take the lead when necessary. Group projects could face delays or demand extra effort, but the rewards will be worth it if you persevere. And collaborations may face delays or restructuring, so focus on forming reliable networks and long-term alliances. Financially, Saturn in the 11th house, it's a financial house, highlights your relationship with money and the support you receive from others, or even money made from career. You may reassess investments or shared resources with friends or groups. Profits from long-term ventures could take time to materialize, but patience will pay off. And this is because the 11th house squares is a natural square to the 8th house, which is about joint ventures and investments. It's a good time to build financial stability with a focus on collaborative goals. Stay patient with profits from group efforts or from investments, as they may take longer to materialize. In relationships, the transit is about quality over quality, quality over quantity. Friendships will be tested and you may let go of connections that feel one-sided or unstable. Only those built on mutual respect and support will survive. New friends entering your life now are likely to be older, wiser, or more experienced, bringing a mature perspective to your world. And romantic relationships may also benefit from a more grounded and practical approach. Health-wise, social stress may impact your well-being, and if you're feeling like overwhelmed by expectations or from responsibilities within group settings or from friends, take time to detach and recenter yourself. Manage stress caused by social obligations and avoid overextending yourself because you might burn out. Geminis do burn out easily. The balanced social life will help you navigate this transit without burnout. Saturn in the 11th house is about building your future and connecting with people who share your vision. While this period may feel restrictive at times, it is an opportunity to create a strong support system and to align your goals with your values. So to summarize, career-wise, collaborations may face delays or restructuring, focus on forming reliable networks and on long-term alliances. Finances, profits from group efforts or investments may take longer to materialize, so stay patient. Relationships, friendships will be tested, and only those built on mutual respect and support will survive. And health-wise, manage stress caused by social obligations and avoid overextending yourself. Let's move to Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it's more challenged by this transit, which affects its 10th house. So the focus is on career, on public image, and on long-term goals. Saturn moving into your 10th house brings your career and reputation into the spotlight. This is a period when you will be asked to take on greater responsibilities and redefine your professional goals and work toward building a legacy. Saturn in the 10th house is demanding, but is also rewarding. It is natural, it's transiting its natural home because Saturn rules the 10th house. But it requires hard work, discipline, and patience. But the efforts you put in now will shape your future success. In your career, you may feel a heightened sense of pressure to prove yourself. Promotions or recognition could be on the horizon, but they won't come easily. You will need to meet challenges head on, take a long-term view, and focus on consistency. Major responsibilities and career milestones will define this period as well. Recognition may come with increased pressure, so stay focused. And if you have been unhappy in your current position, then this transit could push you to seek a new path that better aligns with your true ambitions. Financially, this is a time to build stability through hard work and strategic planning. It's important to avoid risky investments or short-term schemes, as Saturn rewards conservative, well-thought-out approaches. Slow process. Slow and steady wins the race, so avoid shortcuts. Saturn is not about shortcuts. Savings and long-term financial planning will be essential, especially if you are investing in your career development. In relationships, the increased demands on your time and energy could create some strain, so you may need to work on balancing your professional goals with your personal life. Family obligations could come into conflict with career ambitions, so it's important to communicate clearly with loved ones about your priorities. Maintaining harmony between work and home life is critical. Health-wise, stress from career demands and public responsibilities could take a toll, so ensure proper rest and nutrition and develop a disciplined routine that includes regular exercise and a healthy diet. Avoid overworking yourself, as burnout is a real risk during this transit. Saturn in the 10th house is a time to focus on your long-term legacy. It's about building something that lasts, whether your career or your reputation. While the pressure may feel intense, it's actually an opportunity to step into your power and to take control of your future. And the rewards will come to you, but only if you're willing to do the work. So, to summarize, career-wise, major responsibilities and career milestones, recognition may come with increased pressure, so stay focused. Finances, Hard work pays off, but slow and steady wins the race, so avoid shortcuts. Relationships, balance work and home life to maintain harmony. And health-wise, stress from career demands may impact your well-being, so ensure proper rest and nutrition. And let's go to Leo. For Leo, Saturn is in the ninth house, so the focus is on expansion through discipline, through education, and through broadening horizons. Saturn in your ninth house brings a time of structuring your beliefs, expanding your knowledge, and refining your long-term vision. This transit encourages you to grow through disciplined efforts, but it will also challenge you to question your ideas and philosophies. The ninth house rules education, travel, legal matters, and spirituality, all areas that may come into sharp focus during this period. In your career, this transit is about expanding your experience and building credibility. You may decide to pursue further education or specialized training that will strengthen your professional position. Expansion through education, through legal matters, or through international opportunities will also be a theme. Growth will require discipline, and you may face restrictions or additional responsibilities that require you to work harder for success. However, the discipline you develop will set you apart as a leader in your field. It's important to be aware of restrictive belief systems because with Saturn in the ninth, which is the belief system, you might get stuck in some restrictive belief systems. Financially, Saturn in the ninth house could bring expenses related to education, travel, or legal matters. While these costs may feel burdensome, they are actually investments in your future. Investments in education or travel may feel restrictive, but will offer long-term benefits. So be sure to plan your finances carefully and avoid taking on more than you can manage. Long-term financial strategies will yield the best results. In relationships, this transit may shift your perspective on partnerships and connections. You will be encouraged to evaluate beliefs and philosophies in partnerships, seeking relationships that expand your world. If you're in a long-distance relationship, Saturn's presence could highlight the challenges of maintaining the connection, but it will also push you to find solutions. For single Leos, this period may bring mature, grounded partner to share your long-term vision. Health-wise, the demands of this transit may affect your mental and emotional well-being, and stress may be linked to travel or to long-term health commitments. Staying grounded through practices such as meditation or yoga can help you manage stress. Physical travel or movement may be limited or come with extra responsibilities, so plan carefully to avoid strain. Saturn in the ninth could also bring like a block or not being able to travel abroad, even due to technical reasons. Saturn in the ninth house is about building a foundation for your future expansion. So whether you're working on advancing your career, pursuing higher education, or refining your spiritual outlook, this transit rewards focused and strategic efforts. The lessons you learn now will shape your path for years to come. So, to summarize, career-wise, expansion through education, through legal matters, or international opportunities, and growth will require discipline. Finances, investments in education or travel may feel restrictive but offer long-term benefits. Relationships, evaluate beliefs and philosophies in partnerships, seek relationships that expand your world. And health-wise, travel-related stress or long-term health commitments may arise. And let's go to Virgo. For Virgo, Saturn transits the 8th house, and the focus is on transformation, shared resources, and emotional depth. Saturn in your 8th house marks a period of deep transformation and intense self-reflection. This house rules shared resources, intimacy, deaths, and rebirth. Saturn's presence here will push you to face any fears or hidden issues related to these themes. It's a time to build emotional resilience and create greater financial and psychological security. In your career, you may find yourself involved in matters of shared finances, investments, or joint ventures. Saturn demands structure and accountability in these areas. Joint ventures may face delays or require restructuring, so be cautious with shared resources. You could face challenges such as reorganizing debts, renegotiating loans, or dealing with financial complexities in business. Avoid taking on new loans with Saturn in the 8th because it's an indication that you might not be able to pay it off. It might take way longer than you think. But this is an opportunity to build a solid foundation for long-term success. Financially, this transit will bring a sharp focus on shared resources, whether it's mortgage, a business loan, or a joint bank account. You will be asked to take responsibility and to create stability. Debts and taxes will come into focus, and it's a good time to settle financial obligations and not take on new ones. If you have been relying on others for financial support, this period will encourage you to develop more independence. Avoid risky investments and focus on paying out debts and saving for the future. In relationships, Saturn in the 8th house will test the depth of your connections. Intimacy may feel more serious or restricted as you and your partner work through deep-seated issues. This is a time for deep transformation within intimate relationships. Secrets, though, may surface, forcing clarity. For example, if you have had a secret affair, things might come out in the open, or you may need to deal with that. Or some stress related to hidden situations might arise. Only connections built on trust and shared values will survive. For single Virgos, this transit may bring a partner who is older, wiser, or more experienced, but the relationship will require work. Also, problems in intimacy might arise. Health-wise, this transit is an opportunity to address issues related to emotional and psychological well-being. Focus on mental health and releasing emotional baggage to avoid burnout is very important. Deep healing may be required, and seeking help from a therapist or from a spiritual advisor could be particularly beneficial. Your body may also manifest stress in the form of physical symptoms, maybe an autoimmune disease. So pay close attention to your diet and rest patterns. Saturn in the 8th house is about transformation through challenge. So you are being asked to face your shadows and to emerge stronger. While it may feel difficult at times, the lessons you will learn now will empower you to create greater stability and security in every area of your life. So, to summarize, career-wise, joint ventures may face delays or require restructuring, so be cautious with shared resources. Finances, debts, and taxes come into focus, so it's a good time to settle financial obligations. Relationships, deep transformation within intimate relationships. Secrets may surface, forcing clarity. And health-wise, focus on mental health and releasing emotional baggage to avoid burnout. And let's move on to Libra. For Libra, Saturn is transiting the 7th house, so the focus is on relationships, on commitments, and on partnerships. Saturn moving into your 7th house brings a serious focus on your relationships. on both personal and professional. The seventh house rules one-on-one partnerships, and Saturn demands that these these connections be built on a stronger foundation. Relationships that lack mutual respect, trust, or long-term potential may face challenges, while committed partnerships can grow stronger through hard work and mutual effort. In your career, this transit highlights business partnerships and contractual agreements. Partnerships, both personal and professional, may feel restrictive. Agreements will require long-term planning and structure. You may be called upon to evaluate professional alliances or to enter new ones that bring stability and long-term benefits. If you work in a field that involves client relationships, you will be expected to establish clear boundaries and honor your commitments. Saturn may present delays or challenges, but this will help you refine your strategies and build credibility. Financially, this period may involve shared resources or legal agreements, such as dividing assets in a divorce or entering a financial partnership. Be cautious in financial partnerships. Clear agreements are essential. Saturn demands fairness and responsibility, so ensure you are thinking long term. If you're planning to combine finances with someone else, such as a business partner or spouse, for example, you might decide to get married with Saturn in the to officialize a serious partnership or take your relationship to the next step. This is a time to be clear and methodical about expectations and agreements. Relationships take center stage during this transit. Commitments are tested, so this is a time to deepen serious relationships or let go of incompatible ones. If you're single, you may attract partners who are older, more experienced, or who push you to growth emotionally. If you're in a relationship, this period may bring tests to your partnership. Issues that have been ignored will come to the surface, forcing you to address them directly. For those willing to do the work, this can be a time of deepening commitment and mutual respect. Health-wise, stress from relational issues could manifest physically, so balance is key for Libra, so you will need to develop strong boundaries and avoid overextending yourself in your effort to please others. Practices that promote inner peace, such as meditation or yoga, will help you navigate this demanding time. Saturn in the seventh house is about defining your relationships and taking them to the next level. While this transit can feel restrictive or demanding, it is an opportunity to build stronger, more meaningful connections that will stand the test of time. So to summarize, career-wise, partnerships, both personal and professional, may feel restrictive, and agreements require long-term planning. Finances, you need to be cautious in financial partnerships, and clear agreements are essential. When it comes to relationships, commitments are tested, and this is a time to deepen serious relationships or to let go of incompatible ones. And health-wise, stress from relational issues could manifest physically, so focus on balance. And let's move on to Scorpios. For Scorpios, Saturn is transiting the sixth house, so the focus is on work, on routines, and on health. Saturn in your sixth house brings a major focus on daily life, on responsibilities, and on physical wellness, body maintenance. This transit pushes you to reassess your work habits, routines, and how you care for your physical and mental health. It's axis, okay? It's the 6th and 12th axis that is affected, physical and mental health. So it's time to build structure and discipline into your life, making sure that your foundation is strong enough to support your long-term goals. In your career, Saturn in the 6th emphasizes efficiency and productivity. Increased responsibilities at work will be likely, and organizational skills will be your greatest asset. You may find yourself taking on more responsibilities or being asked to streamline your work processes. You need to be careful though, because colleagues may be dumping their work duties on you, so you might be having to do more work than your share of work. This is an excellent time to focus on professional development, learning new skills, or even restructuring your role to better align with your goals. However, Saturn also demands patience. Success won't come overnight, but consistent effort will bring rewards. Financially, this transit encourages careful planning. You may need to cut back on excess spending or find ways to create greater financial stability. Manage daily expenses carefully. It's a time to save rather than waste money, than splurge. If you've been struggling with debts or expenses, this is a good time to create a practical plan to manage them. Saturn in the sixth house also highlights the value of hard work, so financial gains that come through consistent effort and improved work ethic are more likely than anything else. Relationships may take backseat as you focus on self-improvement and your daily responsibilities. Strive for harmony with colleagues and with daily routines. If you are in a relationship, your partner may notice you are spending more time on work or health-related goals, on exercising or going to the gym more often. Communication is key to ensure that your relationship remains balanced. So, new relationships that emerge during this time will be grounded in practicality and in shared responsibilities. Health is a primary focus with Saturn in the sixth house, so this transit will push you to address any neglected issues, build on a routine that promotes long-term wellness. Saturn demands better discipline in health habits. Watch for issues with bones, teeth, or skin. This is the perfect time to start an exercise program, improve your diet, or seek medical advice for chronic issues. While the changes may require effort and discipline, they will pay off in the form of improved energy and vitality. On the other hand, Saturn transit in the sixth house might bring to the surface chronic health issues or issues that need a long time to be handled. Saturn in the sixth house is about mastering the art of daily life. Mastering Saturn, daily life, sixth house. By taking control of your routines, work ethic, and health, you will create a strong foundation for your future. So this is a time to build discipline and habits that will serve you for years to come. To summarize, career-wise, increased responsibilities at work, organizational skills will be your greatest asset. Finances, manage daily expenses carefully. It's a time for saving rather than splurging. Relationships, strive for harmony with colleagues and within daily routines. And health-wise, Saturn demands better discipline in health habits and watch for issues related to bones, teeth, or skin. And let's look at Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, Saturn is transiting the fifth house. The focus is on creativity, also on love and self-expression. Saturn moving into your fifth house shifts your attention to how you express yourself, how you engage in romance, and how you pursue your passions. The fifth house rules joy, creativity, children, and pleasure, and Saturn here can make you take these areas of life a lot more seriously. It's a time when you may need to redefine what truly brings you happiness and to work harder to cultivate it. If you have children, it might be a period of time when they have to take responsibility for their own actions, or you may face problems with authority related to your children. In your career, this transit can encourage you to channel your creative talents into something tangible and long-lasting. Creative projects require structure, and this is a time for refining ideas, not rushing them. You may start a new creative project, restructure your business, or because the fifth house is also about starting your own business or self-employed people. So, or you can turn a hobby into a business, into a profession. Saturn in the fifth house demands that your efforts be practical and focused. It's about creating something that will stand the test of time. Maybe a lot of people will decide to become politicians because it's also the house of politicians in general. Financially, you may experience limitations or restrictions that force you to be more responsible with your resources. Manage daily expenses carefully. It's a time for savings rather than splurging. Investments may take longer to yield results again because the fifth house is in a natural square to the eighth house, but long-term gains are possible. If you have been spending too freely on entertainment or on luxuries, Saturn will push you to budget and to prioritize. And this is something that Sagittarius people have a tendency on doing as well. So this might be a good opportunity for them to learn how to budget and to prioritize. It's also a good time to invest in long-term projects that reflect your passions and values. Relationships-wise, particularly romantic ones, they will come under the microscope during this transit, and romantic relationships may feel restrictive. It's a time for serious commitments or to step away from casual feelings. You may find yourself taking a more serious approach to love, seeking connections that are grounded and meaningful. A lot of Sagittarius may also make the commitment and bring children into life. Take on the responsibility of raising children. Feelings or relationships built on superficiality may fade away, but long-term partnerships can strengthen if both parties are willing to work for it. If you are single, you may be drawn to partners who are older, wiser, or more experienced, or simply you may not feel like going out as much. You may feel more mature, that clubbing does not give you the same satisfaction as it used to. Health-wise, this transit can bring a need to reevaluate how you balance work and play. Focus on emotional well-being, avoid overindulgence to maintain balance, and excessive indulgences in food, drink, or other pleasures may come to a halt as you take a more disciplined approach to your well-being. For example, the fifth house is related to snacking on sweets, etc. So you might cut back on those, you might cut back on sugar. Physical activities that combine structure with enjoyment, such as yoga or dance, can be especially beneficial. Saturn in the sixth house in the fifth house asks you to take responsibility for your happiness. By refocusing on what truly matters and putting in the work to create joy and meaning in your life, you will emerge from this period with a stronger sense of purpose and fulfillment. So, to summarize, career-wise, creative projects require structure, so this is a time for refining ideas, not pursuing them. Not pursuing them, not rushing them. Finances, investments may take longer to yield returns, but long-term gains are possible. Relationships, romantic relationships may feel restrictive. It's a time for serious commitment or stepping away from casual feelings. And health-wise, focus on emotional well-being and avoid overindulgence to maintain balance. And let's look at Capricorn. For Capricorns, Saturn transits the fourth house. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, so it's a more difficult and challenging transit, especially in the fourth house. The focus is on home, family, and emotional foundations. Saturn moving into your fourth house brings a strong focus on your home life, family dynamics, and emotional roots. The fourth house is the foundation of your chart, representing your inner world and the place where you feel most secure. Saturn here will test the strength of this foundation. Maybe it brings fears. It urges you to build stability in your private life and to address any long-standing family or home-related issues. It will bring them to the surface for sure. In your career, this transit can shift your attention towards balancing your work and personal life. The focus on long-term stability rather than rapid advancement will be key. Work may shift closer to home, or you may feel a stronger need to create a home environment that supports your ambitions. Or you may be spending too much time at work and you don't have time to be at home or with your family. If you work from home, though, Saturn will push you to set clear boundaries and to establish a more disciplined routine. Some Capricorns may even consider career changes that align more closely with their personal values and with their personal needs, what makes them happy emotionally. Financially, you may experience expenses related to home, such as renovations, repairs, or a move. Investments in property or family-related expenses take precedence. Saturn demands long-term thinking, so it's important to plan carefully and to avoid overextending your resources. On the flip side, this is a great time to invest in property or to strengthen your financial security through practical measures. Relationships with family members come into the spotlight as well. Family dynamics are tested and boundaries and responsibilities come into focus. You may be called on to shoulder responsibilities such as caring for a parent or resolving family disputes. Or you just might be feeling very lonely in your house. Maybe you isolate yourself in your home. Or you may, if you are living in an apartment building, maybe you have problems with the neighbors. You feel that you are pressured, you go pressured that to fit in, or you may not understand why you don't fit in. So, but if you have unresolved issues in your family history, Saturn will bring them up to the surface, giving you the opportunity to heal and to rebuild. If you have children, this transit can bring more responsibilities in your role as a parent, but it will also help you become more structured and reliable. Health-wise, this is a time to nurture your emotional well-being. Stress related to home and family matters can take a toll, so it's important to prioritize self-care. Pay attention to emotional stress caused by family obligations. Practices that help you feel grounded and connected, such as journaling or meditation, will be beneficial. Saturn in the fourth house is about building a strong inner foundation. While the period might bring challenges, it's also an opportunity to create stability and a sense of belonging in your life. So by the end of this transit, you will have a stronger connection to your home and to your emotional roots. So to summarize, career-wise, the focus is on long-term stability rather than rapid advancement, and work may shift closer to home. Finances, investments in property or family-related expenses take precedence. Relationships, family dynamics are tested. Boundaries and responsibilities come into focus. And health-wise, pay attention to emotional stress caused by family obligations. And let's move on to Aquarius. For Aquarius, Saturn transits the third house. For Aquarius, Saturn transits the third house. The focus is on communication, is on learning, and on local connections. Saturn moving into your third house brings a focus on how you communicate, how you learn, and how you connect with your immediate environment. The transit encourages you to restructure your thinking processes, to strengthen your communication skills, and to take a more disciplined approach to how you share information. It's time to focus on short-term goals that build a solid foundation for long-term success. In your career, communication and networking become critical. You will be called upon to be precise, methodical in professional dealings. This transit will highlight how you relate to colleagues and express your ideas. You may find yourself refining your communication style, taking on a role that requires teaching or writing or learning new skills to stay competitive. While you may face delays or criticism, Saturn will help you develop precision and credibility in your professional communications. Financially, this is a time to think practically about short-term investments or expenses. Watch out for delays in payments or agreements and stay diligent. Saturn in the third house urges you to plan carefully and to avoid overextending yourself. You may need to prioritize spending on education, technology, on transportation, areas like things that support your daily life and your goals. Relationships with siblings, neighbors, or community members may require more effort. Connections with siblings or neighbors or even second-degree relatives may need work to maintain harmony. And Saturn may bring up old issues that need to be addressed or ask you to take on greater responsibilities in these connections. If you have been out of touch with a sibling or close relative, this is a time when you may work toward rebuilding that relationship. Even though it will require hard work, it's not going to be easy. If your relationships with your siblings or second-degree relatives were okay, the problems might arise at this time. Health-wise, mental stress could become a challenge, particularly if you're juggling multiple responsibilities. Stress may affect your respiratory and nervous system, so mindfulness and routine are key. Smokers need to be extra careful because Saturn in the third, which is related to the lungs, might destroy or the lungs or bring them bring on that disease that you don't get enough oxygen. I forget what the actual name is. Saturn in the third house, though, can slow down your thinking process as well, making it feel harder to process information quickly. You might feel that you are not being allowed to express your opinion or people don't hear you. So incorporating mindfulness or limiting excess communication, such as social media, can help you maintain mental clarity. Saturn in the third house is about mastering your daily environment and the way we express yourself. This transit is a reminder that words matter and what you say or write now can have a lasting impact. So this is really an important aspect of Saturn's transit in your third house. So by taking a methodical approach to your learning and communication, you will develop skills that will serve you well in both personal and professional relationships in your life. So to summarize, career, communication, and networking become critical, but precise and methodical ways in professional dealings is imperative. Finances, watch out for delays in payments or agreements and stay diligent. In relationships, connections with siblings or neighbors may require effort to maintain harmony, and health-wise, stress may affect your respiratory or nervous system. So Be mindful and focus on your routine is key for reducing stress. And let's move to Pisces, the last sign. For Pisces, Saturn transits the second house, so the focus is on finances, self-worth, and security. Saturn in your second house puts a strong emphasis on your financial situation and on your sense of personal value. This transit demands that you reassess how you earn, spend, and save your money, as well as how much you value your skills and talents. It's time to build a solid foundation for long-term stability and security. In your career, this transit encourages you to take practical approach to your finances. To build financial stability through consistent effort, this will be crucial to avoid risks and to focus on sustainable growth. And you may need to work harder to prove your worth, or you could take on additional responsibilities that increase your income over time. This is also a good period to restructure your business, investment in skills that will help you advance. But also, Saturn transit in your second house requires you to budget, to plan, and to be more methodical when it comes to your finances. Saturn requires patience and persistence, and success will not come overnight, but your efforts will pay off eventually. Financially, this transit brings a focus on budgeting and savings. Budgeting becomes essential, and Saturn pushes for a solid financial foundation. You may face restrictions that force you to prioritize necessities and avoid luxuries. And while this can feel challenging, it's actually an opportunity to create a stronger financial foundation for the future. If you're dealing with debts, Saturn in the second house is the perfect time to tackle them with a clear plan. Relationships may be affected by your increased focus on finances and self-worth. You may reevaluate what you value most in partnerships. You may find yourself reevaluating the give and take dynamic in your partnerships because it's second and eighth axis, give and take, particularly if you feel that you are not being valued or supported. This period may also encourage you to build greater independence, relying less on others for emotional or financial support, and focusing more on your own efforts and actions. Health-wise, the focus is on physical self-care and on maintaining a healthy relationship with the food. Second house is about the food we put into our mouth. Saturn in the second house reminds you to take care of your body as an asset. So issues related to diet or nutrition may come to the forefront, encouraging you to make more sustainable choices. This is a very good time to build consistent routines that support both your physical and emotional well-being. Pisces and Saturn and Virgo is the health axis. So this is something that is a characteristic of Pisces, in general characteristic permanent. Saturn in the second house is about defining your priorities and about taking a long-term view on your resources. While this period may require a sacrifice, it's also a chance to build a strong foundation for the future. The lessons you learn now about self-worth and financial management will serve you for years to come. So, to summarize, career-wise, building financial stability through consistent effort and risks and focus on sustainable growth is what matters the most. Finances, building finances through budgeting and planning becomes essential. Saturn pushes you for a solid financial foundation. Relationships, you may reevaluate what you value most in partnerships. And health-wise, the focus is on physical self-care and on maintaining a healthy relationship with food. And this is this completes the 12 zodiac signs. So This is what Saturn transit in Aries can bring about for all the zodiac signs, as well as for the collective, and as well as for specific birthdays and people who are affected the most, which I have already mentioned. Thank you for listening until the end. I would appreciate if you share this video so that more people can hear the message related to Saturn in Aries, and so that more people benefit from this information. Once again, if you would like to book a reading with me, you can find all the info in the description of the video, and as well as the 20% promotion offer until the 8th of June. Be well and handle Saturn in Aries as gracefully as you can. Goodbye. See you soon with a new video.